Okay. It's been, 5 consecutive SEC games for us, and, it's a tough run, but proud of our guys and the development of our team and what they've been able to do over the past 5 weeks. We felt like we let one of the 5 – close the door. I think, we let one of them get away, but I love the response and the bounce back by our team. And tonight, we played really well. Got off to a good start. That's a good football team that we beat tonight, and beat them in a manner that doesn't happen quite often. So proud of our guys. They had a great mindset. I thought they were physical tonight. We were the more physical team. I thought that we were pretty disciplined defensively. I thought our corners, in particular, Zy Alexander, was tested early on, and we challenged him to, really play the ball in the air, and I thought he did a great job, and that's what they wanted to do early. They wanted to throw fades. He took that away from them, and I give our defense a lot of credit, and they've been under a lot of scrutiny, and to see that kind of development over the past couple of weeks has been fun to see. And that offense is just, they're averaging over the last 5 teams that they played incredible offensive production. So throwing it, catching it, running it, the offensive line, pretty impressive stuff. So not much else to say, but a 48-18 win against a pretty solid Auburn football team and well-coached team. Pretty excited about it. So open it up to questions.
Yeah, Coach, right over here. You talked some this week about complimentary football, and it really seemed like this was kind of a culmination of that. Can you speak to this performance from that perspective of your team?
Yeah, I think I alluded to you guys earlier, and it was really about, we felt like this offense is one that needed some help. And I don't mean it within its own ranks. I meant the defense needed to play better. And we really looked at its structure and getting the right guys in the right place, and then playing a much more disciplined and aggressive type of defense. And I think we're getting to that level of, complementary football. We're not there yet. And I thought we did some really good things in special teams. Obviously the big kickoff return was key for us. Damian Ramos continues to be, a really strong part of our game. And then, I know Jay doesn't punt a lot, but when he does, he pins good returners to the sideline. And those are all maybe kind of get glossed over, but those little things make a big difference in field position.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, Coach, if you play this kind of defense, can you win a lot of games? Do you think that you're at that spot now?
Well, we've got Army, who's going to be a good, tough, physical football team. This team controls its own destiny at this point, and we need to continue to improve on the defensive side of the ball, continue the consistency, obviously, from an offensive standpoint, but I'll put this team up with anybody in the league right now, and we just need to continue to grow and continue to get better from a defensive perspective in terms of all 11 players knowing their assignments, playing disciplined football, and being, again, much more aggressive to the ball when it's in the air. I think if we do that, this is a team that can compete for a championship.
Brian, just looking at the stat sheet here, Logan, John, Josh, Malik, Kyron, Caleb, Mason, the diversity, I guess, of the talent on this team.
Yeah, Mason Taylor getting involved, the tight ends. It's pretty impressive, and I thought we did a good job of getting everybody the ball. Kyron Lacey probably had a breakout game. He drops one and comes to the sideline and said, "Coach, I owe you one." I said, "No, you owe me 2," and he got us 2. Thought he played. Last year maybe Kyron doesn't respond the right way and maybe drops his head a little bit. He's matured so much that, he stayed positive and said, "Coach, when I get my chance, I'm going to make it up," and it was great to see him do that.
What about the challenges of just having to defend all that?
Yeah, we can throw a lot of guys at you, and we keep those backs fresh. I thought Mike did a really good job of mixing things up. You didn't know if it was run or pass, and then when we needed to get physical, we were able to do that and roll up our sleeves. It was a really, really good performance.
What did you see as the biggest difference in the defense in the last few weeks tonight?
Well, it starts with each player now understands the whole structure of the defense. As I've said to many people that have been at these press conferences, we were searching for the right defensive structure. We were moving Harold Perkins all around. We were in 3 down. We were in some 4 down. We've committed to 4 down with Harold at the sandbacker position. So everybody now is comfortable in knowing what their assignments are. When you can get your cleats in the ground and play defense, run, hit, and get excited, I know those sound like cliches, but that really helps with the confidence of the group. And then I think we're playing the ball better in the air in the back end.
One more. You seem to have a lot of penalties tonight, putting your offense in some bad down and distance. But for the most part, you seem to overcome them. Is that a good sign?
Yeah, it was interesting. The penalties were cadence penalties. We never think that verbal is going to be an issue, of verbal cadence at home, but it was even loud at home that we had to switch to nonverbal. It was such a crowd here tonight that we were in a verbal cadence where our center and offensive line couldn't hear us, and that's unusual. So we picked up a couple of penalties there that put us in a tight spot. Yeah, we overcame. We had Lance Hurd had a penalty, a holding penalty, a young guy in there, but we found a way to overcome it. That's right. You can't continue to do that though.
Brian, just any update on Emory Jones at this point?
Yeah, ankle sprain. He's got a sprain, so we'll evaluate him tomorrow when we bring him in, and we'll see what kind of level. Is it one that requires, a week? Is he ready this week? I wouldn't know. We wouldn't know until probably sometime Sunday, Monday.
And then after some of those sort of uncharacteristic mistakes, like the penalties and the drop and stuff like that.
What penalties are we talking about?
Well, there's like a false start on a 3rd down that caused a field goal and things like that. Just after like those little things, what do you think allowed you guys to get sort of fully clicking and get in the second half?
I don't think we were ever thrown off track. Like, we were never out of sync. We just had some untimely, a false start. As I said, the guys couldn't hear. So there was nothing that I went to the sideline and said, oh, this thing is, out of sequence, or the rhythm isn't good. Sometimes you can feel rhythm on offense. Like, I never felt we were out of rhythm. We had an untimely holding. We got a freshman in there, You're going to have to live with a couple of those. And then Charles couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear the verbal, so we went nonverbal. So I really wasn't concerned about the offense. We made a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes, but I felt like they were in a good rhythm.
Hey, Coach, with Zay Alexander, how has he sort of progressed, and what are some of the things you wanted to see him to improve that you kind of saw tonight?
He got sandpapered all week. I mean, he just needed to get, that grit and toughness of playing corner, and you're going to get beat. But you know what? You got to get back in there, and you got to use your technique, and you got to go fight for the football. And I think he's growing and understanding the position much more. We flipped the corners quite a bit. We met field and boundary tonight for the first time to get some matchups that we wanted. And I think he likes that. But I think more than anything else, it's just he's got a better mindset about playing. Instead of being reactionary, he's much more aggressive, and we're going to keep it that way.
Ron, I know Lance got the holding penalty, but how did he play overall? It seemed like, for a guy stepping in for almost a whole game and hadn't played that many snaps, he must have played pretty well.
They brought a lot of pressure when he came in the game at his side. They brought a lot of edge pressure. He was really good. He's long, he's athletic, he has a great set. There'll be things that he can clean up, but that's a plug-and-play guy. That's a guy who can go in, when you lose one of your top guys, and you can look around and go, okay, we're going to be okay here. But there's things that we're going to have to clean up with him, but that's a nice player to come off the bench and put in there.
Coach, you worked in Caleb Jackson a little bit. How is he coming in terms of, learning the game of football like you talked about and maturing as a freshman?
Yeah, I think he's doing a nice job, actually. There were a couple of things tonight that he did that were part of his growth and development in the run game and pass protection. So it was nice to see, that kind of development 6 games into it. He's going to be a fine player. He's just learning and then you're seeing that kind of take shape and form out on the field. And that's how I think Frank is Coach Wilson is much more comfortable putting him out there later in the game in the third and fourth quarter. John Emery had a tight Achilles. That's why he came off. It doesn't seem to be a major issue, but he ran hard, and it was good to get all those guys some action.
You mentioned Mike Denbrock earlier. We probably haven't talked enough about him with the job this offense is doing. What have you seen in him and his usage and play calling so far this year?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. One, the consistency in what we're doing and how we're doing it based upon, running the ball, playing physical up front, and then, taking shots all over the field and getting the ball to the playmakers. The playmakers, look, this game is still about getting the ball to the guys that can make plays. And so you can see all the touches that Malik Neighbors is getting. BT didn't get as many tonight. Kyron got some of them, but he targets the playmakers, and that's what you have to do. And when you have these guys, because you're not going to have them very long, get them the ball and let them do their thing. And I think Mike has been around long enough to know you don't get many chances at these kinds of players, and get them the football and watch them play.
Hey, Coach, the tackling seemed to have continued to improve, especially in this game. Has that just been more of a matter of reps, or is there anything that you guys have been doing differently?
We've taken a lot of air out of the offenses, in terms of gap integrity. We're flattening out much more the gaps, so there's not a lot of space. So